The Las Vegas Raiders just made moves that nobody saw coming, and the ripple effects might completely flip everything we thought we knew about the AFC West. While everyone's been focused on the Chiefs dynasty and the Chargers' flashy upgrades, something massive has been brewing in Las Vegas that could turn this entire division upside down. The crazy part is that most people are completely sleeping on what's happening right now in the desert. Here's what nobody's talking about. The Raiders didn't just hire a new coach, they brought in Pete Carroll, a guy who's made a career out of taking teams everyone counted out and shocking the football world. But that's just the beginning of this story. They've completely rebuilt their identity from the ground up, and the moves they've made aren't getting nearly enough attention. The quarterback situation that destroyed their 2024 season? Fixed. The offensive system that made fans turn off their TVs? Completely overhauled. The depth chart that just dropped tells a story that's going to surprise a lot of people. What makes this whole situation even more interesting is the confidence level coming out of their camp right now. Players are making bold statements about shocking people, coaches are playing starters in preseason games they normally wouldn't, and the betting markets still have them as massive underdogs. But here's the twist that changes everything about how we should be looking at this team. The guy they brought in to run their offense has a track record that suggests this transformation might be more real than anyone realizes. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Raiders and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 350 likes on this video. Geno Smith walked into an NFL Network interview and dropped a statement that should have every AFC West team paying attention. When asked about his new team's chances, he didn't give the typical safe quarterback answer about taking it one game at a time. Instead, he looked directly into the camera and said something that sent chills through Raider Nation. "Let them sleep on us. I don't want them to see us coming. We're just working in the shadows right now, getting our game right." That's not the talk of a placeholder quarterback, that's the voice of someone who knows something the rest of us don't. The connection between Smith and Pete Carroll runs deeper than most people realize, and it's already showing up in ways that matter. These two spent years together in Seattle, where Smith learned to command an offense under pressure and Carroll learned exactly what his quarterback could handle. Smith threw for over 4,000 yards in his final season with the Seahawks, but more importantly, he developed the kind of arm strength and deep ball accuracy that opens up entire offensive systems. The mock game footage shows him dropping perfect strikes downfield with the kind of confidence that suggests he's not just managing this offense, he's ready to unleash it. What's really got people talking inside the Raiders facility is how Smith has embraced the leadership role in a way that's completely different from what they've had recently. He's not just calling plays, he's setting the tone for an entire culture shift. The way he talks about working in the shadows while everyone sleeps on them isn't just confidence, it's the mindset of a veteran who's been underestimated before and knows exactly how to use that fuel. But the real game changer isn't just Smith's attitude, it's how the offensive system around him has been completely reimagined by someone who knows how to turn potential into explosive results. Chip Kelly's arrival in Las Vegas represents the kind of offensive mind that can turn average talent into explosive production, and the early signs suggest he's already working magic with what he's got. This isn't some recycled college coach trying to prove himself in the NFL. This is a proven offensive architect who's consistently created rushing attacks that opposing defenses couldn't stop. Kelly's systems have produced top 10 rushing offenses multiple times, and now he's got his hands on a rookie running back in Ashton Jeanty, who's already showing he can do things most people didn't expect from a first-round pick. The footage coming out of training camp reveals something that should terrify defensive coordinators across the league. Jeanty isn't just taking handoffs, he's lining up in the slot, running routes from the backfield, and creating mismatches that Kelly's offense is specifically designed to exploit. When you combine a running back who can legitimately threaten defenses as a receiver with Kelly's track record of creating explosive ground games, you get the foundation for an offense that can attack in ways the Raiders haven't been able to in years. The mock scrimmage showed glimpses of play-action setups that had tight ends Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer finding huge chunks of space downfield. Kelly's reputation for developing complex rushing schemes pairs perfectly with Smith's ability to sell play-action and attack vertically downfield. The 2 touchdown passes to tight ends in recent practices weren't just good individual plays, they were evidence of an offensive system that's designed to create those exact situations. What's really interesting is how Kelly has taken the pieces the Raiders already had, guys like Bowers, who was already elite, and found ways to maximize their impact through scheme rather than just hoping talent would be enough. But the real revelation about this offensive transformation comes from looking at who's suddenly emerged as major threats in the passing game and that's where things get really exciting. The Raiders just released their first unofficial depth chart of 2025, and buried in those position listings are decisions that could completely reshape how this team functions on both sides of the ball. Jordan Meredith has officially claimed the starting center job, pushing Jackson Powers-Johnson back to right guard where he'll battle Alex Kappa for snaps. This isn't just a minor shuffle, this represents the Raiders prioritizing what they believe gives them the best five-man combination up front. The offensive line that struggled to protect quarterbacks and create running lanes last season now has a completely different look that suggests they're confident in their ability to establish dominance in the trenches. The wide receiver hierarchy reveals something even more shocking about how quickly things can change in training camp. Dante Thornton Jr., the rookie out of Tennessee, has jumped ahead of Jack Besh on the depth chart and currently sits as the number 2 receiver behind the established guys. For a rookie to leapfrog veterans, this early suggests his training camp performance has been nothing short of spectacular. But here's the part that nobody saw coming. Ashton Jeanty is listed as the backup punt returner. Think about that for a second. The Raiders are so confident in their first-round running back's hands and field vision that they're willing to put him in one of the most dangerous positions on special teams. The depth chart also reveals some concerning trends for players who were expected to have locked up roster spots. Tommy Mellott, who was supposed to compete for return duties and provide depth at receiver, has completely disappeared from special teams listings and sits 4th string at his position. Alex Bachman, meanwhile, keeps climbing up the rankings and getting opportunities with the first-team offense. Trey Tucker has secured both punt return and kick return starting jobs, which shows the Raiders trust his decision-making in high-pressure situations. What's really interesting is how these depth chart moves connect to some major changes happening on the defensive side, where the Raiders just made a trade that's starting to make perfect sense when you see the bigger picture. The Jacorian Bennett for Thomas Booker trade looked puzzling when it first happened, but the pieces of this puzzle are starting to fit together in a way that reveals some serious front office planning. Booker spent last season in Philadelphia, playing behind one of the deepest defensive tackle rotations in football, getting only 182 total snaps, but showing flashes of the kind of athleticism that made the Eagles' front office keep him around. The guy moves like someone who shouldn't weigh what he weighs, and his ability to shoot gaps and disrupt running lanes fits exactly what Pete Carroll wants from his interior defensive line. This isn't just adding depth, this is acquiring a specific type of player who can develop into something special. The timing of this trade makes even more sense when you consider that Leki Fotu showed up to practice in a walking boot, creating an immediate need for defensive tackle depth. Fotu was supposed to be one of the guys stepping up to fill the massive hole left by Christian Wilkins, but injuries have a way of derailing the best-laid plans. Booker's film from Philadelphia shows a player who consistently beat double teams with quickness and generated pressure on 52 true one-on-one pass rushing opportunities, despite being the 4th option in their rotation. The fact that Eagles fans are upset about losing him tells you everything you need to know about his potential impact. What's really interesting about Booker's skill set is how it mirrors the type of defensive tackles that have thrived in Philadelphia's system over the years. He's got that explosive first step that can beat offensive linemen to spots, and his bull rush technique with the fork move shows he understands how to use leverage to generate power. The Raiders' defensive tackle room now features Adam Butler, who's developed into a consistent pass rusher, and Booker, who has the athletic tools to become that same type of disruptive force. Here's the bold prediction that might sound crazy right now, but could look genius by January. The Raiders are going to win double-digit games this season and make the playoffs as a wild-card team that nobody wants to face in the postseason. Their offensive system will be too complex for defenses to figure out early in the year, their defense will create more turnovers than expected, and their underdog mentality will fuel performances in crucial moments. The AFC West might be the most competitive division in football, but the Raiders are about to remind everyone that this division runs through Las Vegas when they're firing on all cylinders. What do you think about the Raiders' chances this season? Are they going to shock the world like Geno Smith promised? Or are we getting too excited about preseason hype? Drop your predictions in the comments about which rookie will have the biggest impact. And don't forget to subscribe for more breakdown videos as we get closer to the regular season. The preseason game against Seattle is going to tell us a lot about whether this transformation is real, so make sure you're following along for all the analysis.